We good to go?
We're good to go.
Everybody's good to go. All right, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Welcome back to the SynergyXR studio, gentlemen. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very
Jake,
much.
you're here all the time.
Yes.
You don't need
like
an
it
introduction. Oh, we'll give you an introduction.
Okay, thanks.
And Mass, great to see you back. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but it's good to be here. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, we're here today to talk about how to become a true metaverse expert. Metaverse, top of mind for a lot of people right now, especially when Facebook changed their name about a year ago. There's lots of people right now calling themselves a metaverse expert, which is great because the community is growing. But the question is whether or not these people have the right tools in their hands so they can go in and start building and creating and sharing things in the metaverse. You know, whether or not you're on the consulting side of things, the creative side of things, or maybe just on the theoretical side of things, we're here to help people boost their metaverse IQ. So that's what we're going to be digging in today, because we've created a really cool tool that they can actually use to start building, start creating, but also we want to share the tools and the tips and the tricks that we love with the community. That's the game plan today. Before we get started though, who are we, Mass, to call ourselves metaverse experts?
My name is Mads Troelsgaard, and I'm CEO and co-founder of SynergyXR, but I'm also the former CEO of Unity Studios, and I have been working with these technologies for over a decade.
Right. And you've been a part of working with some of the world's most recognized brands, delivered
Gamble in Cincinnati, Volkswagen in Germany,
Major League Baseball,
in New York, GlaxoSmithKline in London, Schneider Electric. I could keep on going.
Delivered hundreds of XR solutions for them, but we didn't call them metaverse solutions back then, did we?
No, it was more, augmented or virtual reality applications and more closed environments or worlds, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to dig into more of that in just a few minutes. But Jake, welcome again.
Thank you very much.
Who is Jake? How do you? So your last name is Danish, but how do you prefer to?
Actually, it's Swedish.
Is it really?
Yeah, Soderberg. It's Swedish.
Can we hear it with a Swedish accent?
Söderberg.
That's really good. Yeah. I would never be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
So who is Jake?
So I'm Chief Sales Officer here at the Synergy, and love the product. By the way, I have been in love with VR since I saw the Lawnmower Man back in the early 80s, I think.
There you go. Dating yourself, but that's okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm probably the oldest guy in the room. I don't know. Well, I think I am.
I think you are, yeah.
So I get to have conversations with great companies on a daily basis who are interested in becoming metaverse experts. And perhaps I should just come with a quick disclaimer: I'm not a metaverse expert. I've only been in this game for a little more than 8-9 months, but I'm learning fast from a great team around me, and it's super fun to be part of. And can't wait to talk more about how we can. What did you say? Increase the IQ, the metaverse IQ.
Boost the metaverse IQ. Yeah. So for those of you at home, I'm not a metaverse expert either. I have been in the metaverse XR space for 2 years, but I'm on a fast track plan with being surrounded by these guys every day. My name is Corey Morris. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, and I love doing things like this, bringing you guys into the studio so we can educate our community. It's effectively what I do in my job. So to that effect, or to that end, why don't we get started, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
So the first thing we want to do, always as a jumping off point, is to really lock in a definition. What is the metaverse? To be a metaverse expert, a true metaverse expert, we have to have a shared understanding of what the metaverse is. This is the definition that we like to work with here at SynergyXR. So it's the next evolution of the internet. We'll use drivers like augmented, virtual, and mixed reality. And don't worry, we'll get into those definitions in just a few minutes. Those will enable us to enter these digital worlds and interact with information that's going to be layered on top of our physical world. A lot of people are using the word phygital. So it's like this mashup between the physical and the digital world. Our CTO, Suna Wolf, hates that word, but I like it.
Okay.
But
so
you're in marketing.
I know, right? I know. Oh, let's just coin a new term. That sounds awesome. Can we get behind this definition as a jumping off point?
Yes.
Knowing very well that there's lots of definitions out there. It doesn't maybe do the term justice. It's, but there's no need to peel open the onion right now.
Nope.
So I want to introduce what XR actually means and reintroduce those terms: augmented, virtual, and mixed reality. So XR, umbrella term, where these three terms are packed underneath. Most people just say, hey, it's XR, but there are some differences. In fact, there are some pretty big differences. So Mads, start with augmented reality. What is it and how do we use it?
So augmented reality, the big difference is the way you experience it, because behind the scenes, we kind of use the same technology, and that's why we're able to build the platform that we're building. But if we start with augmented reality. So
it's your phone, right?
Yeah, it's mostly used, commonly used with your phone, where you utilize the camera of the phone, and then you can add 3D objects into your physical world and see what it looks like in there. We know it from, I mentioned IKEA before, so IKEA Place, where you can place furniture in your home. I think the most known game in the world is Pokemon Go. In there, you're also able to add like little Pokemons in your physical surroundings and catch them with these Pokeballs. Right?
And in a business use case, for example, this person they're showing their phone down a shopping aisle, and they're able to see things that are on offer. But they're only able to see those through their phone.
Yeah, so basically they utilize the camera in there to know exactly where their offers is in the store. We also see business applications where you hold your phone over a label on a product, and then you can unfold that label and have extra information, content in that, hidden in the label.
The key difference, though, is that you cannot touch or interact with the digital component thing that's layered on top of the squirrel.
Through your device, right? But you can't
touch it. Which moves us over to, let's just go ahead and look at MR.
Yeah.
So what is MR and how is it different than AR?
So MR is when we take the physical world into considerations with a device like that one. So that's Microsoft HoloLens.
This is the HoloLens?
So you can actually see through it. So you have your hands free as well, but there is this.
Can I try it on?
Yeah, take it on. and from here now you get like visual overlays as well in there, and you will have the possibility to actually also grab like holograms in there and move them around and do interaction with them.
Hands,
things around. And it has a depth sensor in it, so it basically scans the real world and understands, that there is some surface here and stuff like that. So that means that you would be able to, for example, place a virtual robot arm in this room that could take up a object and place it on the physical table here.
Okay.
So that's
and you can also connect with people across the other side of the world. They can see what you're seeing. You can.
Yeah. There's also a lot of there's cameras in it here. You see them up here, so you can turn on the cameras and they can actually see what you see as well. Plus, they can see the visual overlays in.
So from a remote support, remote maintenance context, it's pretty genius, right? It's the equivalent. I mean, it's so much better than maybe, for example, just using your video call.
Yeah, you can do it with a video call, but the thing is, you have your hands free here, so you can actually work at the same time.
Right.
And get
information that's in front of you that's easier to maneuver.
It's one of those use cases that are super hard to explain unless you actually experience it yourself.
Right.
I tried myself explaining it to my wife, and imagine that I join as an avatar and point you to the right direction. I can see her just dozing off, and then she tried it, and oh my God, it's really something else. And then you understand the true power of remote support via HoloLens, actually.
That's interesting. And then the third one up here is virtual reality, which is a fully immersive digital experience. So what do we mean by fully immersive? As I think you have one of the Meta Quest.
Meta Quest 2 device here. So that's a closed virtual environment. So
closed in the sense as you have it on your face and you're completely closed off, right?
And in a full virtual environment.
Right.
So like many, you no games today, so you would be in a full game, like being there and yourself in a virtual world.
And these are your hands?
Yeah, these are the controllers. You can actually also track your hands, so you can see your hands in there. But we also have controllers for it, for controlling, for interacting in that world. So if you have those on in SynergyXR, they will appear as hands in the experience in there. Okay. And then you can do interactions in there. It's quite
as a non-metaverse expert, I definitely prefer prepare the controllers over the hand gestures on the HoloLens. They're so much more intuitive, and the learning curve is so much smaller with controllers.
So I don't want to get stuck on this too much, because I think we could definitely talk a lot about this, but just really quickly, where do you see this moving over the course of the next 2 years?
You know, it's going to blend. It's going to blend. You will see a device where you can do both.
So be able to see through?
Yeah, you're going to see augmented and virtual reality in the same device where you can switch between them. We already seen some of the first devices coming out, but naturally we're waiting for some of the large producers of hardware like Microsoft or Meta coming out with these kind of headsets.
Anybody else coming out with anything soon?
Yeah, we expect Apple to come out with something.
Okay.
But,
to be determined.
Yeah, exactly.
To be determined. That's exciting. I think the hardware is a huge driver in the whole metaverse space, because obviously this is the enabler for us to be able to interact with it. But it's also interesting to think about the way we interact with the internet today is through a computer or a phone, and now we're suddenly over in a wearable. So,
but I think it's important to state that you can still enter these experiences with your devices,
so and with a computer,
with your desktop computer. It's still possible. So if you don't have any of these devices, most people have a phone, right?
Yeah.
So it will be possible. Yeah, it is possible to join these experiences.
It's a really good point. There's no need for wait for the hardware to be perfect.
No, you can start today.
Yeah, and that's really, that's also our sweet spot as well, is to use the technology that people have in their hands today.
Exactly.
So if we zoom out and look at the metaverse from a really, really high level, from a universal level, it almost looks like with this drawing here. This is from our friends at Gartner, where they talk about the different elements of a metaverse. Obviously, we talk a lot about or work with the corporate metaverse, so we're on the B2B side of things, in particular, those who work with, maybe complex global organizations. But the metaverse, it's so much bigger than people may really think. I mean, in fact, I think it was Goldman Sachs just this past week estimated that the metaverse is going to be worth $12 trillion within the next few years. And Citi, just about 6 months ago, I think they put a price tag of $13 trillion. Mass, why do you...
In just 8 years.
In just 8 years, right. Mass, why do you think that these big financial institutions are putting so much stock into the metaverse?
Well, I think they compare it to the internet today. What is the internet worth today, right? And these technologies is the gateway to the next evolution of the internet. So naturally, it's going to open up for a whole new level of communication. And what is that worth? Well, basically, it's going to have a huge impact on our lives. Like, it's going to change our economy and currencies that we work with. It's going to change like entertainment, gaming, shopping.
So effectively,
social.
every way in which we live, work, and play will be
exactly.
affected.
Yeah.
I even hear of concerts taking place now in Fortnite and drawing 10 million, viewers. That's never going to happen in a physical world. So I think it definitely enables things that are simply not possible today.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. What we focus on, like I mentioned before, is that the metaverse is already actually transforming the way that we work.
I actually think that Gartner, who made this model before, they state that in 2026, we are going to spend 25% of the world's population is going to spend 1 hour in a day in our work life in the metaverse.
Yeah, and that's by 2026. Yeah. So just over the course of the next 4 years. Exactly. And that's a lot of people, right?
That is a lot of people.
So taking this universal look at the metaverse and maybe just zooming into one corner, which is how companies are going to use this, what we call the corporate metaverse. So let's dig into that a little bit, because I think that's really our sweet spot. You, Suna Wolf, and Thomas Finger, about 5 years ago, got this great idea after working in the Metaverse XR space for so long, that there was a much better, there was a much faster, there was a much more affordable way for companies to get started in XR or in the Metaverse. And that was when you guys came up with the idea for the SynergyXR platform that we know today, which actually we just announced it is now present in 43 countries around the globe. So congratulations with that.
Thank you very much.
But Mass, let's take a closer look at the SynergyXR platform. This is what you guys built. Could you kind of maybe just walk us through it real quick?
Of course. Yeah, so the SynergyXR platform is a platform that makes it super easy and intuitive for companies with, and employees without tech. You don't have to be a tech wizard to use the platform. So it's drag and drop features. If we should compare it to something today on the internet, we could compare it to like a CMS system like WordPress or Wix.com. Where you actually can drag and drop stuff in there.
Right. So it's a no-code platform.
No-code platform where you can upload your own content to a secure cloud. This can be like 3D objects. It can 3D scans, 360 images, but also regular images, videos, and PDF files like presentations and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And once it's uploaded to the cloud, you can access it from your XR device or your desktop computer, no matter where you are in the world. And then you can meet in this virtual space and collaborate.
So you have augmented, mixed reality, virtual reality here. So why do we have these names here? How do those play together?
Yeah, so it's a cross-platform and multiplayer platform as well.
Okay.
So you can use. So basically, if you upload a 3D object from of a, what could it be? It could be like a pump.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can place it with your mobile phone as augmented reality in front of you. You can have your whole product catalog basically in your pocket on your mobile device and bring that to a sales meeting or for a conference or something like that. So you have the whole product catalog in place in that. Then you have the mixed reality. So basically you can access the same backend and access all that same content and place that with your mixed reality.
And then the same thing with the VR, the Meta
exactly.
Quest, and also desktop.
Yeah, also desktop.
PC.
Yes.
For those who maybe don't have an XR device.
The thing is, you have the same UI on all the devices. So once you learned one platform, you can start on the PC, for example. Once you learned that, you can easily get started with one of the other devices because it's the same menu system, the same way you access the content and basically interact with it and drop it into your space.
There's a blue cloud up there with a lock on it. Why is that important?
It's important because companies want to be in full control of their own data.
But most people want to be in full control of their own data, right?
Yeah, they do. So we build a secure cloud for companies because that's what they want. They want a closed environment where they can upload their confidential material.
In much the same way like an intranet, right? Are we
Exactly.
is that a good analogy?
I think that's a good analogy, even though intranet is not a hot
What, you don't
term.
think intranet is sexy?
Intranet is not sexy. But
It's not sexy, no.
It's not sexy.
No.
But
that's where we were around the beginning of the internet, right? I mean, you had the internet and the intranet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where we are now with the
But that's exactly
Metaverse.
what companies need and what they want. And that's definitely the way we would recommend every company to get started with the Metaverse. Do it in a closed, controlled environment where you are safe and in full control of who have access to what.
Okay, great. Let's move forward, guys. So you talked a little bit about how it worked. So people are able to upload their content to the cloud. Then they choose one of the devices. So it could be an XR device. It could be a device they already own. Then they're able to build these experience. And then, as you said, it's a multi-user experience. So the Metaverse is a pretty lonely place if you're there by yourself. So it's all about connecting with others.
Yeah, but
is that pretty much the gist of it?
That is, but you can be there alone. You can build up environments alone in there, and I think that's actually also an important part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
But of course, the true value comes in connecting with people and collaborating.
Who can be anywhere in the world.
That can be your colleagues, stakeholders, customers. Right. Yeah.
And they can be on different devices. I think that's super powerful, that you don't necessarily have to have a VR headset, but you can actually jump in from your PC. Or are we allowed to talk about future releases? I know something's
actually,
coming
I
up.
wanted to say that as well. So this is where we are right now.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so October 3rd, we're launching a new release.
Early October.
Yeah. Early October. Yeah, well, we're aiming at October 3rd.
Right.
But it should be possible to join a session from your iPhone or iPad.
A VR session.
A VR session,
right.
Yes. So again, we're trying to constantly remove friction and make the access to the metaverse easier for everybody.
I think it's important to remember that. I mean, there probably aren't many HoloLens sold out there. I think the price point is like $3,000 or something like that. So it's really it's a business device.
It is.
The Meta Quest is around $300 US. So that's a really good price point. But there's still roughly 30 million VR headsets sold globally. But that number is expected to increase exponentially over the course of the next few years. But it's a fair assumption, or not a fair assumption, just fair to say that there's a lot of people who may not have these devices. That's why it's important to build a platform that actually talks to the devices that people already have. Sorry. Yeah. Cool. So let's move a little bit forward, because as Bill Gates said many years ago, content is king, and content is still king also in the metaverse. And I think it's really important that we kind of dig into taking control of your content, because that's really what allows you to take control of your environment. And what we mean by environment is the environment that you can create with the SynergyXR platform in virtual reality or augmented reality or mixed reality, if you will. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically, like if you were building a website today, then you need your content in there to make it, your
website.
Your website, basically, right. Exactly. And it's the same thing here in the metaverse, in the corporate metaverse. So, for example, we are providing this platform, but it's basically empty. You, as the user, are the content matter expert. So you're the expert in your field, and that doesn't matter if you're in medical or in pharma or in industrial energy. Yeah. Basically, it's your content that you upload to the platform and create your customized experience, but you do it with yourself with drag and drop. So you are taking control of the environment and building the experience you do today, exactly like PowerPoint.
Right.
So
right.
PowerPoint is being used for so many different things, and it's kind of same thing.
I think what we've seen, and I think, just to give people a point of reference, I think what we've seen is that maybe these different elements have existed, but there hasn't been one thing to bring everything together so they can talk together. Because if somebody had to do this themselves, if they both had to find the content, upload the content, have a platform where they could look at this actually with an easy drag and drop functionality, that would be really expensive. It would cost a lot of time. And I'm not even sure that people would have the expertise to do that.
Yeah. So like we started out with stating that, there's a lot of metaverse experts out there, but many of them haven't really done anything in the metaverse before. And that's because many of them cannot program. There's not developers, right?
Right.
Or they can't do anything with.
Or they don't have the assets.
They don't have the assets. They don't have the platform. So this actually just opens up for them to utilize these technologies without having to be a developer.
In much the same way that WordPress revolutionized the way that we design websites. And then the next iteration of that was Wix, which made it even easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Did you want to add anything to that, Jake?
I think Mass covered it.
Great. When we talk about content, let's be a little bit specific here. We have 3D objects. That's what we have on the left. We also have images, because I think it's important to give people a visual reference. A lot of people are thinking right now, 3D objects. Does my company have 3D objects?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that most do if you work in some type of production activity. If not, there are lots of 3D providers out there. We're going to talk about some of our favorites in a few seconds. But this image right here, this is effectively just a PDF image that we have on the wall. And these screenshots are taken from our wind turbine demo experience. Then we have videos. So you can easily just take the videos that you already have, which I'm assuming most companies have, and easily toss those up in the cloud, and they play just like they play everywhere else.
Yep. As long as they're MP4 format.
Yeah. Yep. I actually think I said I called this PDFs before, but the images could also be
JPEGs.
JPEGs. Yeah, it could very well be photos as well, right? Yeah, and then we have PDFs.
Yeah.
So basically, you can take all your presentations and convert them into PDFs, and then there you go.
Yeah, or you can access. We also have a possibility
browser.
for browsers.
A browser
so
as
you can
well.
Actually also access your presentations through the browser.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
So this really means that you already have a lot of content that you've been using in maybe in marketing or explaining, or whatever. You have a lot of content already. It might not be 3D, but you have a lot of content explaining about your business or your products or whatever.
Right.
You can directly upload that.
Yeah, and I think this is
start using it.
This is so important for people who, like myself, are so tired of video meetings, screen meetings, screen-to-screen meetings. If you want to have some semblance of actually meeting with somebody in a real-world environment without actually having to travel to the other side of the world, this brings you really close. Yep. And I love the fact that you can save a ton of time and a ton of money by not having to go out and create completely new content for these types of experiences. Exactly. That's great. Let's talk about, so one thing is we have all these content, we have the building blocks. How do we put it all together to create an experience? So I'm going to show you guys a little highlight reel. This is a highlight reel of some of the environments that people have created and that we've helped create on the SynergyXR platform. So I'm going to see if I can get this to play. So Mads, what are we looking at here?
This is one of our experiences where we actually show you around in a wind turbine room,
which would be used for an onboarding and training experience, right?
Exactly, within the wind industry. This one is a waterworks facility, where it's actually built up on the true BIM models of the real facility.
Okay, so it's almost like a digital copy in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is actually out there. It's a real thing today, so it's out there. And this one is our
Stebo, right?
Yeah, one of our customers that have created their own space.
It's like a showcase collaboration space for.
Yeah.
It's not made out of a BIM model.
Right.
It's made out of a very creative mind. Hey, let's make a meeting room inside a moving meteor. Okay. We can do that in VR.
We can do that.
Yes.
We can do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Mars experience where so you get into this environment on Mars.
It's for the Mars rover.
That's the Mars rover from NASA. Directly taken, that is taken from the website, actually.
Okay.
The 3D model of the rover. Yeah. And this is also a true copy of a actual site that is in Vejle.
AI Innovation House, right?
AI Innovation House, exactly. That's one of the rooms in there called Quantum. And this is actually made in one of our template rooms that you get,
out of the box.
Out of the box with SynergyXR. And then it's just added with a lot of furnitures in there, so you can actually.
I think the cool thing of that is that it's fully customizable.
Yep.
Yeah,
as all our rooms are.
It's pretty nice. It's a nice room. I like that one.
Great. So experiences are best. You said that it's okay, obviously, if you're in there solo, but experiences could also be great when they're shared with others. So let's talk a little bit about. So here's also one of our out of the box. In fact, that's the exact same space that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. This is how Grundfos is using it to onboard some of their employees around the world when they're trying to teach them the journey of actually water. How they use their pumps to get water out of the ground. Jake, you want to walk us through this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is simply just an overview of the journey that water takes from being deep underground, and we can see here the journey on this one and how it travels through rinsing, through purification, and being the distribution all the way up to your household appliance. And
they built this themselves, right?
Yes, they did. And for an employee somewhere remote that's just building a pump, it's super important to see that you're part of a bigger picture, and not only just creating a pump, but you actually are providing people with clean drinking water. That's very.
I think what's really interesting here is seeing 3D models, photos, documents, and video all working in concert to tell a powerful story with people who are spread around the world.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Grundfos, what was the business case here?
Yeah, so they saved on this training alone, $25,000. That would have been
And this
the
was just a
equivalent.
pilot, right?
A pilot, yeah. So normally they would have put people on planes and buses and have them travel to headquarters in Bjerringbro and give them the education there. By doing this, they could actually save a lot of money, time, and CO2. So
That's
I guess,
impressive.
Yeah,
That's impressive. Great. Thanks for sharing.
of course.
All right, guys. So let's move forward. Now we're to the point. Now we talked a little bit about the SynergyXR platform. Really hope that everybody gives that a go. We'll tell you more about that afterwards. But as promised, we want to help people start building their Metaverse toolkit. So let's talk about some of the Metaverse tools that we use ourselves and some of the Metaverse tools that we love.
Mm-hmm.
The first one it goes back to the problem of finding 3D models. So 3D suites to streamline your production. So one is Blender. It's a free open source 3D creation suite. And it's basically supports your entire 3D pipeline. So from 3D modeling to game creation, it's used a lot in the gaming industry, but can just as well be used in other parts of the metaverse. Why do you love Blender, Mass?
I love Blender because it's free and it's really developed. You know, it is, and it's a free tool, and you know the whole ecosystem about community.
It's community based, right?
Yeah,
It's crowdsourced.
exactly. Yeah, and you know it has really grown as a tool within the last 5 years. A lot of things have happened. Even lots of organizations have, you know, donated money to Blender to make it even better. And, you know, yeah, it's just, I think it's one of the best tools out there. Alternatives to this is 3D Studio Max or Maya. That is also really good.
And this is good for people who have the ability to create 3D, right?
Exactly. So also, maybe if you're in the industry, working with industrial pumps, whatever machinery, then you're probably working in Autodesk. What's it called? There is like SolidWorks, like these CAD programs.
Right.
From there, you can also export 3D models and content in there, and they are actually also supporting GLB models right now and stuff like that you can actually just throw into Synergy as well.
Okay. So what if you can't design? What if you can't design it for yourself? Let's look at some of those tools that we love. One is Turbosquid. Tell us about Turbosquid.
So Turbosquid is a platform, like a marketplace, where you could go in and buy 3D models, objects for your experiences.
Like stock photos?
Like stock photos, yeah, basically, but just 3D models, right? So if you need whatever object, you can go in and maybe find it in there. It's a really big catalog. There's also Sketchfab and other tools out there, which is similar. CG Trader as well. But Turbosquid is pretty good. It's a huge.
What about pricing options?
Yeah, well, it differs in there because there's a lot of different. You can upload it and you can, if you are 3D created, you can sell your stuff in Turbosquid.
Right.
Yeah, and earn money on that. The only thing is that sometimes in Turbosquid, some of the models is quite heavy, so you need to optimize.
And by heavy, you mean?
Yeah, by heavy, I mean that, when you are working with a device like this one, everything is in here. So
all the computers.
All computer power
right?
is in here. The GPU, CPU, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because before this, you had to actually have it tethered to a computer, right?
Yeah, you did. So, of course, your computers have a lot more compute power to render and show 3D models because they can be quite heavy.
Right.
So by coming around of that, you need to optimize 3D models. And I would definitely recommend people to just look a bit into real-time rendering and 3D models optimization.
So what's the metric that we use for a heavy 3D model? Is that poly count? What
polygons?
Yeah, polygons.
How many polygons?
But also there's more things. So textures, the size of the texture that you wrap things in, that can also have an impact on it.
Right.
I think, take a Google on real-time rendering. What is that?
We actually have some assets on the SynergyXR website if people want to know the difference between real-time versus rendered.
Well.
Okay.
I have some information as well.
Yeah, because I think people can kind of be misguided if they see rendered 3D images versus real-time, just in terms of managing expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Unity Asset Store.
The good thing about Unity Asset Store is that you can most content in there is already optimized for real-time rendering. So basically, most of this stuff is directly plug and play. Because it's optimized. You can also in Turbosquid, by the way, you can just search for low poly models, and you'll find a huge bunch in there as well. But the Unity Asset Store, you can find really good environments as well for building up your own metaverse. A lot of people.
So environment is also what we kind of see the space that people come in.
The space that you walk in. Usually mostly in the VR headset, because in AR and mixed reality, we use the physical environments.
Good point.
So it's more curated content than the other one, the open marketplace.
And it's specifically designed for Unity, I suspect.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Considering it's Unity Asset Store. So if you're working with Unity, this is the go-to place. And also, so obviously there are these databases out there, the equivalent to stock photo databases, and I think that's going to continue to grow. I think that could also be one of the parts of the huge, all the elements of the metaverse we're looking at, because again, content is still very much king. But we also have technology available now that allows us to bring these things that are around us every day into these virtual worlds around us. Let's talk a little bit about those. So presenting your life in the metaverse, there's a lot of talk right now about scanning. Jacob, tell us about that.
It's not that many months/years ago that you needed to buy really heavy scanning devices at a very costly price to do scans of either objects or rooms, and it was super expensive. And I learned over the last on my journey towards becoming a metaverse expert, let's see if I get that I learned that you can do a lot of things with the computer you have in your pocket. Your iPhone, your modern cell phone. You can come a long way.
Why is
with
that?
So most or the newest iPhones, the Pro versions, 13 Pro and up, have a built-in LiDAR sensor.
Actually, 12 Pro.
12 Pro, from 12 Pro and up.
Can we show a close-up of, I don't know, which one are we on here? Oh, it's not in focus. I can't find the camera. Sorry.
I also wished he had autofocus on. That's not.
I can put it up here. No, so it has a built-in LiDAR scanner. So it actually recognizes distances and can measure the distance from one point to the other. So it's very accurate. I think we're down to centimeters.
So it allows us to scan objects around us and convert them into what?
Into a format that we can directly upload to the metaverse.
3D model.
So a 3D model.
So a 3D model.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's some very interesting things also coming in.
So if I wanted to show somebody a product, I could take a photo of it. I could go on FaceTime, show them that, but I could also scan it into a 3D model. I could throw it up in SynergyXR. We could meet in virtual reality, and we could actually take a look at that.
Yes,
exactly.
Okay,
but you actually don't need the new phones to do it. There's also photogrammetry applications out there where you take a bunch of images and send it up to cloud, and then it will be stitched together, and after a couple of minutes then you'll have a 3D model.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned that, because let's talk about some of the tools that we love to do that, some of our scanning tools. One of them is our good friends Polycam. Who are Polycam, and how can you use their app?
So Polycam is an application you can just get on App Store.
It's free, right?
Yeah, there is some free tools in there, and
there's a pro version.
There's a pro version as well.
All right.
And I think Polycam is definitely my favorite one. You can do environment scans that are really good in there. You can also do room planning scans, so it just creates like this.
Especially with the new Apple release, right?
iOS 16. Yeah, that's super cool.
So then you can do like a floor plan, quite anonymized. So basically you get this white model out of
so without textures.
Without textures, but you'll get the full understanding
of the
environment.
Super fast too.
Super fast, within minutes. And then you can just throw it into SynergyXR as well. It just works. But you can also do photogrammetry in Polycam as well.
And there's Scaniverse.
Then the other app is Scaniverse that we're gonna mention today. There's more 3D scanner apps and stuff like that. There's more apps out there, but Scaniverse, I really like that one as well, because it's also free, and it's super fast, and it's very good to environments, I think. So it's a fast way to also do 3D scanning.
So they're complementary to one another.
I would definitely recommend Polycam, but if you are not going to pay for it,
Right.
then you can use
Scaniverse.
Scaniverse as well.
Yeah, and I have a feeling this market is going to be flooded
Yeah.
over the course of the next
No
next
doubt.
few months, years.
sure.
All right, let's. So one thing are tools that we love. Others are resources, books, articles, reports, so on and so forth. Our good friend Matthew Ball just came out with a new book called the Metaverse and how it will revolutionize everything. Mr. Matthew Ball, we concur. We agree. Anything you guys want to say about Matthew's book?
I'll definitely recommend just to read it.
Take a look at it.
It's
Yeah.
also an audio. You can download it as an audio book as well. You can buy it there and
Right.
listen to it. In
There's
the
some
car,
really
stuff
good takes
like
there.
that,
Some really good
Yeah.
takes. There's also tons of articles out there. I mean, there's a lot coming from I think Citi when they went out and said, "Hey, this is going to be a $13 trillion industry." That's a 185-page report. You don't have to read all 185 pages. There's an executive summary, but that's out there. What else would you recommend?
Well, I've a lot of followers or at least a lot of people are tweeting daily on new stuff.
I think if you subscribe to
definitely
any type of Metaverse hashtag,
exactly,
things are going to be coming.
There's
in.
so much coming out on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
but Boston Consulting Group also came out, and Gartner as well.
Gardner just came out,
with some reports. I think
Goldman
it's really-
Sachs just came out. It's almost as like we had the pioneers who started,
PricewaterhouseCoopers
and now
also came
everybody
out,
wants to be a part of the game. But I do think it speaks to the level of where we are now in terms of seriousness, in terms of really people understanding it.
Sure.
Not only do you have all of big tech, so Microsoft, Meta, Apple,
Facebook,
and exactly, and also and Google,
and Google,
yeah. They're all on board now, and they're investing millions, if not billions, into this. And then you have all the large consultancies. Even McKinsey is putting stuff out there. I would suggest anybody just do a quick Google search, and you're gonna get tons of information. You're also maybe want to have to be mindful of the information that you're getting out there as well, because there's a lot of hype out there. Maybe there's a little bit of BS out there. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Mass.
No, I'm not going to make that statement.
No, there is a lot. I think there is a lot of hype out there, but just be mindful of stuff and check your sources as always. And of course, there's tons of information and resources on the SynergyXR website. Just go to our community page and you can find some stuff there. So. We have maybe piqued people's interest. They want to know what the next step is. So what steps can companies and individuals take to actually get started? What would you suggest?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a leading question.
Yeah. Identify need.
Yeah.
No,
or project, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be a need. It can also be a project.
Small. You don't have to invest that much time into it. No. Just really get some of these tools that is out there, like the Polycam app, to start scanning environments or products around you. Download the SynergyXR. So from next week, you'll have a free version for you where you can upload stuff and play around with it, even multiplayer. Get started with your colleagues, try it out. Upload some of the stuff, maybe also just images, content that you already have. Try to create a space, get the full understanding of how it works. Test it on maybe some of your colleagues around the world. That I would definitely it doesn't have to be a big thing, but I think the most important part is just to get started playing around with this, because it's coming, and it's coming faster than than you expect. And then, once you feel a little more comfortable about that, then I think you will, what will happen is that you'll get a lot of ideas, but try to, narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2 or 3, max 3 use cases, and then start testing on these and make some pilots, and mock-ups.
So dip your toe into it now.
Yeah, exactly. And
while you can
start allocating some time in your calendar to do some of this work in there, because if you really, one thing is reading a lot, reading books, and of course reports, and becoming a metaverse expert that way, but really get your hands on to really understand what is this, what is behind it. then I think that's going to help a lot in your journey becoming a true metaverse.
Yeah.
expert,
So,
right?
you know, learning, doing your research, understanding the principles, the ideas behind it, but also really just, you know, getting your hands dirty, so to speak. That may not be the
Exactly.
best metaphor, but actually getting in and start building things.
And I actually think you can get very, very far, even though you're not a developer.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what I hear you saying is actually get started today, not tomorrow, because I think a lot of people are waiting until things are right. Maybe the technology is going to be advanced.
Yeah.
You probably hear that all the time.
Absolutely, almost daily. And what I also see and hear is companies approaching us because they know that this is a new technology that will be emerging. I think we can document that. It's going to be
that's
a
pretty
fact.
much established now.
And now they just need to figure out how to use it. And we have some use cases, but we also see new use cases emerge daily, and that's super fun. And I would wish we could fast forward 2 years and look back and say, oh, you remember back then time we did that podcast when we had that clunky headset on there and nobody know what to use it for?
Yep.
I would love to be able to do that. Can we do that?
No, absolutely.
Fast forward 2 years and then we
have
look
magic.
back.
We have a magic button somewhere.
Yes, let's do it. Now,
I think the key takeaway is, you know, get started today, not tomorrow. You know, we can look at the people out there and say, hey, if you want to get started today, not tomorrow, then go to the SynergyXR website. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial. If you want to wait a week later, around the beginning of October, there's going to be some really cool and exciting stuff that you can actually go and try and get started. I mean, we're always evolving, we're always iterating, coming with new things. Also, if you want to continue to be a part of the overall Metaverse, corporate Metaverse community and continue to boost your Metaverse IQ, then I suggest that you follow us on YouTube, where you're watching us now. You know, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on LinkedIn. We post 3 to 4 times a week. We're one of the fastest growing companies on LinkedIn. We also have our Facebook page as well as our Instagram, where we're always posting really fun and interesting content. But thanks to all of you for joining us today. I hope you feel as though you've boosted your Metaverse IQ a little bit. I know every time I'm surrounded by you guys, I feel a little bit smarter. So once again, thanks to both of you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So let's go back to that first thing that we talked about, which was really what